Hello students, welcome to this next instalment of social media marketing. So now we're going to turn our attention away from owned media, where we have focused on those pages and profiles and our own message that we have total control over. And now we're going to focus on earned media. So by the end of this collection of mini lectures, you will hopefully develop a level of understanding. You will understand what we mean when we say earned media. So what is earned media? What constitutes earned media? And also appreciate the role of social media in achieving earned media and how social media has a very important role to play in modern marketing when it comes to earned media. So what is earned media? So to summarize it very simply, earned media is any brand-related actions or conversations. So that could be your audience, potential customers, existing customers. It could also be publishers. It could be a magazine. It could be a website, a journalist, an influencer talking about your brand. They might be passing opinion, they might be reviewing it, they might be discussing the business owners. Any conversation, any actions, sort of any new content created in relation to your brand that's not created by you, that is not paid for, falls under the category of earned media. So earned media has been around for hundreds of years, possibly even thousands of years. As long as human beings have been trading, as long as we have been exchanging goods or buying and selling goods and services, we have exchanged opinions. We have been telling other people about our experiences, whether we should buy the corn from this farmer or the corn from that farmer. We've had something called word of mouth, which is when we exchange opinions and we talk about brands or producers or people who deliver services. So word of mouth has been around as long as trading and buying and markets have been around. But in the modern era, we have something called e-word of mouth. You might hear it called E1, e-word of mouth, electronic word of mouth. That is where we're exchanging our opinions, our experiences, our ideas on the internet. So it's electronic. So we're now actually telling other people about our experience of brands, but it's there for everybody to see on the World Wide Web. So another really interesting thing about earned media and the digital era is that now, because of technology, because of tools like analytics tools, web analytics, social media analytics, we can now also track e-word of mouth. So we have tools that help us to understand whether people are saying good things or bad things about our brand, or how many people are talking about our brand. So we can actually track and we can learn and we can improve based on earned media. So we'll be looking at that after Christmas when we focus on review building and social listening. So just to sum up, as we've moved from one topic to another, we've moved from owned media to earned media. I wanted to kind of go over some of the benefits and limitations of each type of media. So when it comes to paid media, when it comes to advertisements, ads, so that could be a sponsored post, a sponsored story, or perhaps pay-per-click ads, whether that's on social media or if you're sort of doing search engine marketing. There are some benefits and there are some limitations. The benefits of advertising is that you get to control when, where, and generally now with digital, who the message is shown to. Unfortunately, with ads, you have less authenticity because people don't trust ads. We get bombarded with ads all the time from lots of different brands telling us we need this product, we need this service, all these different benefits, and we have to filter. We have to kind of constantly be on guard, and otherwise we just run out of money because we'd be buying things all the time. So people don't trust ads. They don't always trust what the brand is saying because they know it's an advertisement. They know that someone's trying to influence them. So ads, paid media, advertisements have less authenticity, but we do have more control. Owned media that we looked at the last couple of weeks, it's our media. We own it. Therefore, we have total control. So whether that's on your website or whether that's on your social media platforms, you decide what is written there. You decide what images, posts, and videos go there. So you have total control. So that's a real benefit of owned media. But the limitation is that, again, there's a limited authenticity. Even though people might elect to come to your website, and they might come and have a look at your Facebook page, they know that you're talking about your own brand. You're going to say all the best things about your brand. So you have kind of a limited authenticity, because people, again, have to filter. They have to be aware that brands will always say the best things about themselves. The other limitation with owned media is limited reach, because again, it's your own media. You're not paying to kind of reach extra people, so you might not be discovered. Okay, so you have a bit of a limited reach with your owned media. Now, earned media that we're focusing on this week could be articles written in the press, in a magazine, newspaper, on a website about your brand, about your organization. It could be users or potential users posting, commenting, sharing, liking, creating content of them engaging with your product or service. So that's earned media. It's created by the public. So the benefit of earned media is that you have more authenticity. People will believe what other people say about your brand, because it's not coming directly from the source. Unfortunately, with earned media, the limitation is you have less control. You don't know when people will do it or what will motivate them to do it. They could write positive or negative things about your brand. So each type of media has very specific benefits and very specific limitations. So why is earned media so important? Earned media is important because people trust people. So as mentioned earlier, we have to filter out what brands say about themselves, because they're only going to tell you the best stuff, perhaps not the truth, the good and the bad. But we tend to try to get opinions and find out people's real experience from people that we know. It could be friends and family, someone we know that may have purchased that product, or just looking on the internet. If we're going to make a purchase, and perhaps it's something that we're a bit nervous about buying, we've not bought it before, or perhaps it costs a lot of money, or perhaps we don't know a lot about that product, say it's a new computer, we're likely to look for reviews to see what other people thought, what other people experienced. So people trust people, and that's why earned media is so valuable. It's so good for brands, because they know that their audience, their customers are saying great things about them. That will influence other people. So we have different types of earned media. We have user-generated content. So this is generally people who use the product, the service, sharing their experiences of themselves, using, opening, engaging with the service. We also have word of mouth, which can be reviews or people talking and telling other friends about a great time or a great experience that they've had, or a bad experience that they've had. And then we have e-word of mouth. Perhaps they're actually writing to you, putting a reply on your blog, or leaving a message on your social media platform, or leaving you a review. So this is an electronic word of mouth. And then we also have influencer generated content. So we might have an influencer who has engaged with our service or experience. They might be a celebrity or a micro influencer. If we haven't paid them any money, it is earned media. It's only it becomes paid media if we've engaged with the influencer, we've come to an agreement with them, we've exchanged. It could be we're paying them in cash, with money, or actually giving them goods. But if there is some sort of exchange, it becomes paid media. If they're doing it for free, it's influencer generated content, and it comes under earned media. So we have different types of earned media that we can try to stimulate as a brand. So social media is incredibly important for earned media, because it is unlike any other media channel. It's not like broadcast, like TV and radio. It's not like print, magazines. It has little elements of all of those. You can watch video on social media, just like TV. You can read articles on social media, just like magazines. But it's all of those things and everything and more. It's a socially connected marketing landscape. And the key thing is, it's really based around people and behaviors. It's social. It's not controlled by the platform. Yes, the platform like Facebook might sort of bring out new functions and features, but the actual content is created by people, and it's about connections. So if we understand that, and that social media is people's network of interconnected consumers, we can kind of get a better understanding of how we can use social media well to earn ourselves some earned media, to get some reviews, to get some positive content, to get people sharing their experiences online of them using our product or service. And when this works really well, the reach in itself can become news, like national news or global news. Sometimes if something is trending on social media, TV talk show hosts, radio hosts will start to talk about that trend and how it's exploded on Twitter, or it's going viral on Facebook, or it's the most watched YouTube video. So again, the press will pick up on those stories that we as people, by our social trends, what we're doing and sharing on social media, have created. So things have come a long way from where we were in the mid-century when sort of academics were starting to conceptualize how marketing works. Back then, the main focus of marketing was very much around advertising, because that was seen as the principal way of reaching your public, of a brand or a company or a charity communicating with their public. So back then, it was seen as a very linear process. So you'd have a brand, they could be selling cornflakes, breakfast cereal, or they could be a charity. And they'd have a very specific message for their audience. And this message would be transferred via a medium. So that could be TV, it could be radio, it could be in a magazine. Now that would compete with other television programs, with other advertisements, with distractions, what we call noise in marketing. And if the message did compete with all of the noise and make it through, it would be received by the receiver, by the audience. They would process that message and they might act on that message. And if they do act on that message, it would provide some form of feedback. Let's say, for example, the breakfast cereal company drop a new advertisement. The advertisement is very popular, lots of people like it, more people buy the cereal. An increase in sales would be the feedback. The feedback could come from doing a survey to see how people think or feel about an ad campaign. So this feedback loop was added quite soon after the original model. But again, it's a very simple model, and it kind of assumes a very sort of linear and straightforward process of information from the brand to the receiver. And again, this was developed in an era before social media. So a lot of things changed, not just social media. There were quite a few technology changes that came and that kind of made that former model that we just looked at, the Shannon-Weaver model, redundant. Some of those changes they all together come together to define an epoch, what we call Web 2.0. Web 2.0 is a combination of things such as technology advancements, the fact that a lot of people began to own devices that were internet connected. Those devices increasingly had high quality digital cameras, video cameras, even sort of, when we're not talking about smartphones, video cameras and recording equipment became much cheaper, better quality and more accessible to the public. So it wasn't just broadcasting camera crews who could record. Members of the public could take photos. Members of the public could record video. We then had internet-enabled devices such as smartphones, laptops, computers and tablets. Access to the internet became more broadly available to the public, to people at home, to schools, to businesses. And then social media became a mechanism for distribution. So all of these things came together to form the sort of epoch that we call Web 2.0, where the communication of messages from brand to the receiver becomes a lot more complicated. So it begins to look a little bit more like this. So you have a brand. Again, the brand will have a message. They want to tell something, talk about their product or their service. They want the receiver to receive that message. It has to penetrate the noise. It has to stand out against the other distractions, against competition, and then it can be received. Once the message has been received, that person might talk about the brand, and they might talk about the brand on social media. They might say, hey, have you seen this ad campaign? It's really funny, or it's really, clever, or it's incredible computer generated graphics. You must see this. They might actually spread the brand's message, or they might buy the product and take a picture of themselves wearing their new trainers or their new bag. So now we have receivers who are also senders, and they can send the message on to other receivers who can then send the message on to other receivers. And this is why now in the Web 2.0 era, brands' messages can go viral, and brands are not the only people sending messages out. We are also sending messages out. So this is the earned media has been around for a long time, but it's really kind of exploded in the different types of earned media and how important it is for brands because of this new system, this new Web 2.0 system, where we as consumers can also produce content, and we can also share that content much quicker and much more readily than ever before. So the consumer is no longer passive. pre-Web 2.0, so in the early 90s and before, we were very much consumers, and we consumed content and consumed products, and we received messages via broadcast media or print media. And if we did talk about brands, we might write a letter into a newspaper or a magazine, but we didn't have that reach. And it was very much a one-to-many broadcast system, one brand trying to communicate with many people. Now in the Web 2.0 period, so from the 2000s onwards, we as consumers can also produce. So we can be called prosumers, or get involved in some what journal articles call prosumption, where we consume but we also produce our own content. So we are the receivers and the creators of content. We can consume and we can publish media. There is not just word of mouth, but electronic word of mouth, which can spread virally. And we can have many-to-many conversations in communities about brands, about our experiences. And again, we've always had advocates and ambassadors, but they've got much more power now because of how quickly, easily, and low cost their influence and word can spread. So earned media is incredibly important today for brands, for charities, for their success. So we need to give a lot of attention to how we can achieve earned media, how we can stimulate it, how do we earn it. So an interesting statement in the textbook that I recommend for this module, Paid, Owned and Earned by Butcher, he summarizes that we as individuals, we share things that define us. So if something makes us look good, we're going to share that. So gaining earned media, so for a brand to gain and achieve earned media, it's more about just content being passed on. You've got to generate something that has an emotional involvement, that stirs people emotionally. So they go, yes, I like this. I like it so much, I want to share it. So that's what we're going to be looking at in this section. We're going to be looking at how we can achieve that, how we can stir those emotions and get people to pass on our message in a favourable way. So what we'll be doing is we'll be looking at a couple of case studies. We'll be looking at some examples of very successful viral marketing campaigns, a campaign by Office Max and Office Depot, and a campaign by Evian. We'll be looking at a brand that is successfully using or stimulating and getting user-generated content. The brand is called Runner. They're a small local Portsmouth brand. The business owners are former alumni of the university, and they also have a little positive impact project. So I'll tell you a bit more about that in the little mini UGC lecture. And we'll be talking about public relations, PR, when journalists, magazines, bloggers and influencers write articles about us for free, and that helps us to reach more people, and it helps people to trust us, because if somebody else, if a journalist or a newspaper is writing about your project, then people say, wow, it must be good, it must be happening, it must be successful if it's caught the attention of the media. So PR is incredibly important earned media. So I'll be giving you an example of the Package Free Larder and this positive impact project, and how it used PR to kind of achieve its objective of raising funds to actually open Portsmouth's first plastic-free shop. So I'll see you in a moment in the following mini lectures, and hopefully all of this will give you lots of ideas and inspiration for this week's group challenge and for your assessment, your presentation of your positive impact project.